This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, rocking a beautiful Toronto background behind me. I will be in Toronto a couple times this year, later on in the summer, and of course this fall for a couple conventions. But in the meantime, here we are, April the 9th, 2026, post-Easter weekend. And folks, I have a three-time guest on the show, but somebody I have known since 2008, right?
Yes, 2008.
2008. And met her through the MB Film Co-op here. And I first knew her as a musician, a singer.
And you had me on your show and you got me to play guitar live on the radio. And I had never done anything like that before. And it was such a cool experience. I'll
Yes,
never
and I
forget
got a
that.
picture of you doing that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, folks, she has branched into so many other avenues. She's appeared in some films, including one with Corey Haim, um, called American Sunset, and she is writing books as well. We talked about Project Humans, and if anybody has followed the last couple times I've gone to Toronto, I found that book at the Fredericton Airport, and I even highlighted it in
You
a
sure did.
video. Yes. Folks, I give you Bea Waters. How do you do, Bea?
I do great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Did you see the videos of me showing your book off at the
I
airport?
did. I did. I love it. To me, it made sense to put the book at the airport because we have so many cultural things going on. Harvest Jazz and Blues comes to mind, but like that was at the time that I put the book out there. But just we have so much stuff going on. I was like, you know, we get a lot of flights that get canceled. And if I'm already checked in and then my flight gets delayed, what do I do? Right? If I either scroll on your phone, which a lot of people do these days, or you can pick up a book. And so I thought it'd be great to have my book at the airport. And that's actually worked out really well for me. So I can't wait to deliver book two to them because, if you got book one, you might want book two.
You know, it's interesting because I've been doing conventions since 2017, but after the pandemic, when I started going back to them in 2021, I couldn't get there fast enough. And I started recording my vacations, and just, because I love Toronto and I've almost pretty much given up the idea of moving there right now, but it's okay. I do the videos of my trips because, when I'm working or whatnot, sometimes I just like to listen to my trips, not to hear my voice so much, just to re-experience the sounds in and around me and the experience, and it helps the work night go well. And um, I know the last couple of them because I know I heard from you when Skittles passed away back on March 20th. But the last two or three times I did my first video on my trips, I started out with Skittles here at the apartment, you know.
Yeah.
But I always like to do one at the airport. I get the airport, you get the big lights up there and stuff, and always do one at the airport. I don't do one on the way back because
You're
just
tired.
depressing filming the end of your trip. So I always do one on the way, hear all the
When's
sounds.
your next trip?
It'll be at the end of August. I'm going to do Fan Expo for the
Okay.
second time. And then I'm going to do Frightmare in the Falls for I believe, yeah, sixth time,
Yeah, you've been to that one a lot.
October. Yeah. Yeah, I've done that one six times. I've done four horror-ramas. And
Okay.
I've done so far one Fan Expo, one Toronto Comic Con, and I did Chiller in New Jersey, you know. And I've had people ask me when I'm going to do any more in the States, and I wouldn't mind. Here's the problem, and I thought the Chiller in New Jersey was probably hands down the best convention I've ever been to because you got
Ooh.
anywhere between 75 to 100 guests. and you got a diverse of guests there. Like, I mean, they have it in April and they have it in October. I was there with Lisa Langlois in spring, April of 2024. And they just had an array of different guests there. I know they had a big one room just for a reunion for the Warriors,
Wow.
1979 movie, you know. But I mean, since then, I've been just kind of following what they've been doing. They had one season, they had everyone from Linda Blair there from The Exorcist to the first guy that donned the Barney suit from Barney the Dinosaur.
Oh my goodness.
You want to talk about
That's a
opposite ends,
variety. Yeah.
and you have pictures of abundance of both of them. There was none of this complaining, you know. You had a Night of the Living Dead reunion there, but you also had uh, a handful of actors from Home Alone there. So it's like anybody can go to this,
Nice.
and I love that, you know. So I really dug it. My only thing I didn't like, see, when I land in Toronto, I love just going about my day. Going to the shuttle bus, takes me to Union Station, get on the subway and go to where I need to go. Well, when I went to Chiller, I had to go to New Jersey, so plane had to take me to Newark. Here's the thing, I ended up having to wait at the Toronto airport for, I don't know, what was it, 4 hours? And then when I got finally got there, I waited like an hour, hour and a half, and immigration to go through that line. Once I got through that, I didn't know where the convention was held, so I had to get a taxi to take me to the convention center or where the hotel was, which I was actually sharing with one of my guests, which was cool. Had an author there that I've had on a few times, and he contacted me and said, "You want to split a room?" And I was like, "Absolutely, you know,
That's awesome.
yeah." But but the taxi there cost me $84.
I
So
went
that
to
was
a
in.
writers convention in New York once and I knew that this was going to be an issue. So
Hmm.
instead of flying to Toronto and then potentially getting my flight canceled and having all this extra time, I drove across the border to Presque Isle and I got a plane from Presque Isle to Newark and it cost me like I think 175 bucks. Like the plane was nothing. I got into Newark very quickly. Um, and so I drove the drive was about an hour and 15, hour and a half. Um,
Hmm.
the flight was about an hour and a half. And then I got a shuttle bus from Newark to um, there's a park in Manhattan, a big park where the library is. I can't remember what it's called now, but I got a shuttle there, and then I walked 6 blocks to my hotel. I had it all planned out before I went, but
Hmm.
the shuttle bus was very reasonable. I think it was like $15. So there are cheaper ways to do these trips. If you're interested, I can help you plan that in the future.
Sometime, yeah, probably in the future, but where I work so much here, and I only get 2 weeks off for vacation, I try to plan carefully which conventions I go to. Um, I had a few hiccups at Fan Expo when I went there. I've had somebody tell me because I've never had any bad experiences. Fan Expo, I ended up having some bad experiences, you know, like William Shatner was not the most pleasant person, you know.
Isn't he like really, really old though? Like
Yeah,
he's
but here's the thing. Here's my counter to
insanely
that.
old.
James Tolkien was the same age. We just recently lost him. He was the principal in Back to the Future,
Okay.
but he was there same time as Shatner. Here's the difference. Same age, totally different in personality because he was having a ball.
Yeah. I don't know. I just find when people get beyond 90, I feel like they have earned the right to be as cantankerous as they want to be. I hope that when I'm 90, I'm allowed to be as cantankerous as, because I got a real cantankerous person inside that I keep on lock.
Hmm.
And I would love to just let her out, but I don't feel like I can do that until I hit 90 years old. I kind of get that from my grandmother because once she hit like 92, she was cantankerous as all get out, but it was like, she made it to 92. Like, so I don't know. I understand it's upsetting when you like loved Shatner. Like I grew up watching Star Trek, so I'm totally there. But you also don't know, like maybe the day before his cat had just died. I don't know.
I
Like,
don't know.
it's upsetting when you spent all that money to go see someone that you
This was the
really, really
second
like.
time I met him. The first time was actually a New Jersey chiller, and he was only there for I think 4 hours. But I thought, well, Andrew, my younger brother Andrew, watched Skittles while I'm gone, so I always get him an autograph. So I got him a Shatner autograph, and then I get a selfie with him. So and he looked like he had just fallen out of bed.
My God.
Yeah, but nonetheless, that one wasn't so bad. He gave me a fist bump. But this time at Fan Expo, I thought, you know what? 94, I'm going to get the autograph picture this time. But I stood in line and I was in that line for like 4 hours. And my lower back and my legs, my knees were killing me. And we kept getting told anytime now, anytime. And then the person tells us he'll be there at 4 o'clock. So, okay. So I bought a picture to get signed, which would guarantee you that I would be in that lineup. And when, in the meantime, I went and I got some of the other autographs. I will say this, Heather Locklear is a doll.
Hmm.
I got people right now. She's supposed to be at Chiller, New Jersey this month, and people have been asking about her, and I've told them, go meet her because she'll make you feel like $1 million.
It's amazing, right? Like these people, they play characters, and we
Hmm.
kind of associate the face with that character if they haven't played like a whole lot. And then you meet the real person and nothing like the characters because that's acting, right? Like, Heather Locklear, I could see her being super nice and super friendly. She, when people frown all the time, they get those lines on their face, right? Like when
Yeah.
people are happy all the time, they get the happy lines. And her face kind of looks like a happy person. So I could see her being like wonderful to meet. That's kind of neat.
She was very pleasant. She was the highlight.
Aw.
Yeah.
I bet she'd love to hear that.
Actually, you want me to tell you what she did here?
What did she hit?
Because when I put the picture on Facebook, I had a couple of people I grew up with in elementary to junior high who commented on the picture. They both said the same thing. One of them said, Heather Locklear, she's the reason I'm a straight man. And one other person behind it said, you know what? I got to agree with that. I went back to Heather's table and I told her about that. And she just laughed. She thought that was funny. I said, Heather, you still got it. And she laughed. She laughed. She thought that was funny. But she was great to meet. And I did get some photo ops, and those I can pay for beforehand. Those are professionally done, so you don't really have time to talk to the person you do because they're done professionally and they line you through. But Ewan McGregor was just super chill.
Okay.
Ewan was great. You
He's
know,
such a good actor.
he
I,
is.
he was in Train Spotting, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he was good in that movie.
If I had have, if I had had time with him, I would have asked him if he had found the filthiest toilet in Canada yet.
Oh my gosh, it's in a Tim Hortons somewhere.
But he would shake your hand and say, "How are you?" And then you take the photo because it's professional. They got to keep the line moving. But he patted me on the back, and said, "Thank you for coming," and I go and get my
Nice.
picture. And one person people asked me about was Mike Tyson. And his photo ops were sold out, but I got one. And he was seated in a chair. And when I got up to him, I leaned into him. I said, I loved you in The Hangover. And he had I saw his eyes just shift with a look of glee.
Yeah, yeah. You can tell the real smile by the eyes, right? Like
Yeah. And he reached up and he put his arm around me.
that's what he wanted to hear right there. Yeah.
Well, I had to say it, so, but, and then I got a photo op with three of the Smallville girls,
Okay.
which they were all beautiful, so I couldn't resist. But big difference. Laura Vandervoort I've met twice. She's awesome. Christian Crook, very standoffish, you know. But Laura I've met a couple times, so
Well, I mean,
so
people have different personalities too, right? Like some
mhm,
people who might be really good at acting are not necessarily extroverts. So if you're an introvert and you're in a situation where you're meeting people all day because it's part of your job, and it's not the part of your job that you realized when you signed up for that job, like it
mhm.
can be overwhelming. So you might be you might be finding a little bit of that.
Maybe,
Christian
maybe.
person might have been an introvert.
Well, I'm going to do another one this year. And of course, I did a photo op. This one was pricey, but I kind of had to do it. I did a photo op with, because they had a Back to the Future reunion there. And I did one with Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd.
Oh, wow.
I did that for one big reason. I knew Michael J. Fox's health was not the best.
Yeah.
And Christopher Lloyd is in his 80s. Although he moves around pretty well for a guy in his 80s, he's still working. But Michael J. Fox, his signings and stuff were private, like behind curtain or whatever. But he was in a movie called Class of 1984 with my friend Lisa Langlois, who I done a few conventions with, and I had um, a shirt on with her image from the movie on it. And when the fans were being shuffled through for the photo op, because you had Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd seated side by side, Michael J. Fox saw my shirt and he looked at it and he had the Parkinson's, but he was trying to give a thumbs up.
Okay.
I texted Lisa and I told her this, because she was meeting me for dinner that night. And she was thrilled. But it was nice to do that, and I did it for that reason. It's a little pricey, but I
You're
think it
not
was
going
like,
to probably get the opportunity ever again to
well,
have
it
that
was I
kind
think it
of
was about $300,
Ooh,
but for that photo op. But there are times where it's like, I kind of got to do that one. Yeah. And Frightmare in the Falls, I had to go and meet Jake the Snake Roberts, so I
ah,
did
nice.
that. Yeah. So, and I did a few photo ops at that one too. So, and had one that was canceled though because they had a big Jaws reunion there, but Richard Dreyfuss, I got an email saying that he was not on his flight from Boston. This is 2 years he hasn't shown. So it's like, yeah, well. But there were
Yeah.
other people from Jaws that were there, so yeah, so but the he was a big part of the photo op, so the photo op got canceled, but just means that I got the money back on that and I was able to spend it in other places. So yeah. But I generally enjoy these. So I'm going to do a couple this year and I'm looking forward to them. And of course when I go to Toronto, I'll see Lisa and there's other people I've had on the show that I'll also see as well. So yeah. So
Nice.
I look forward to it. And of course, I don't recall them doing it here, but they do this in Toronto. Because where I stay in Toronto, there's apartment buildings and they have guest suites. And Lisa has me stay in one of these guest suites. So she just says to me, she goes, "Let me know what date you're coming, and I'll reserve it for you."
Nice.
So I go and I stay in the guest suite, which is a lot cheaper than staying in one of the hotels. I stay. She wasn't there when I was at Fan Expo until I didn't even know I was going to be seeing her at the time I saw Michael J. Fox. She just happened to respond when I sent her that text because she came back into town that night because she was on a film shoot in Ottawa. But I was staying at the Intercontinental, and that was very pricey.
Yeah.
But I got some video there, and it's cool, you know. So yeah, so I have some fun at these. Tommy Kovac has said to me, goes, Greg, you need to get B at the conventions.
Well, I was thinking of applying to be a vendor at HalCon this year in Halifax,
Hmm.
at the end of November. And I haven't pulled the trigger yet. I know the registrations opened, I think, April 1st and they close May 1st and then they decide. And so they look at all of their applications and they decide who they're going to let in. And I'm like, I don't like the rejections. I don't want to apply
You
and be
want me to tell you
rejected.
what you do?
But
Apply to a bunch of them.
Well, see, I was looking at the Halifax one
Hmm.
because I have a place that I can stay that's about an hour outside of Halifax, so I don't have to pay for a hotel if I go there. I
Okay.
just have to get up really early to drive in, and then I have to come home late and I have to pay for parking, which is not a big deal. So I
Okay.
was thinking of doing that one, but at the same time, like I wouldn't have done it with just one book. Now that I have the second book, I might. There's a book sale in Fredericton on the same weekend, but it's almost the same price and it's not a convention. So I'm just really not sure which one I want to prioritize. Because one I can stay at home and not have to go anywhere, and then the other one, like
Well,
Halcon, it's
you can always do HellCon next year too.
yeah,
Maybe you might
exactly.
feel different about it, you know?
Yeah.
You
But I
know?
am doing like so this coming weekend, on like today we're Thursday, so starting Saturday morning, there's a UFO conference up at the forestry complex. So I'm totally there because UFO, like that's my people.
Are you talking about
So
UFOs or are you talking about our current government?
yeah. There's actually, I think 6 speakers giving presentations on like UFOs throughout history and across Canada and all that kind of stuff. And so anybody that's like attending the UFO conference is more likely to be interested in my book than someone who's just attending a book fair. So I'm definitely excited about that. And then um, the weekend of April 25th, I think,
Hmm.
is the actual date. I am in the Miramichi at Miramichi River Fan Fest as a guest author, and I'm
Hmm.
doing a whole presentation on world building because I had to build multiple worlds, more than a dozen, just to make my book series. So I'm gonna go give them a talk about world building and how my process works. I think it's probably a lot easier if you only have to build one world, but where I had to jump right in and build 13, I had to have a process for distinguishing them so that it wasn't like I'm building the same world over and over again and tweaking one little thing. So
Yeah.
that's going to be a lot of fun to give that presentation. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to, meet other authors and to meet people who are just interested in science fiction and world building and stuff. But yeah, so that's in the Miramichi. So that's coming up too. So I'm doing the same type of stuff, but just on a much smaller scale and closer to
Well,
home.
these conventions
Someday.
aren't, yeah, these conventions aren't going away. So, I
No.
mean, that one chiller in New Jersey, that one I think you would fit in great in.
Okay.
But that one I discovered has been going since 1990.
Wow, that's old.
Yeah.
That's when I started junior high.
Well, I looked at some of
Backwards.
the past guests they've had, and there's a lot of them that's passed away now. But it's like, wow, they had this person, you know, and I was like, wow. So that one there has been going a long time. They do it twice a year, April and October. And you know, you get the Niagara Falls one, Frightened. They got Frightmare in the Falls, but they got other ones too. They got Niagara Falls Comic Con there, and they got other ones as well. One there at Christmas time. They're all done by the same people, and then they've got a couple there in Toronto that they do. So yeah, there's always time for those, So I just take baby steps on it, but yeah, I think you're gonna have a fun year with what you got planned anyway. So there
Yeah.
you go. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Well, we need to dive in here because I know I got some cliff notes on you from you, and I really want to and I'm glad you sent me this because it gave me something to go with because you got your second book coming up, your sequel to Project Human called Atlantis Rising.
There's Project
Yeah,
Human.
Project Human. I like that
And
kind of like that hourglass looking beam, and she's got the arms out right in the middle of that.
the reason that it's an hourglass is it's
Yeah.
meant to look like DNA. It's meant to look like the double helix of a DNA because
Yeah.
that's really crucial to the story. So yeah, my artist did this double helix thing.
Well, I
It's
love it. Her
really
legs
cool.
are kind of crossed there, but her arms are going right out, right where the crossing is of the hourglass
Yeah,
thing.
it's true.
I I think it's a really cool cover. That's a great cover. Let's look at this one. There we go.
So
There we
this is
go.
Atlantis. So
Hmm.
in my book, it's not a continent, it's not an island, it's a starship, and it is the size of New Brunswick. It has a diameter of 250 kilometers, and it's been trapped on Earth for 11,000 years. So where are you going to trap a starship the size of New Brunswick for 11,000 years?
Probably New Brunswick.
Well, this one's trapped in the ocean.
Oh,
Because
close to New Brunswick?
75% of our planet is covered in ocean. So if you
Oh,
want to hide something, hide it in the ocean. So Olivia, for book two, Olivia has to rescue the lost city of Atlantis. And if you don't mind, can I read the back of the book?
go right ahead.
Okay.
Is this the one
Oh,
that's got the dog ear?
the dog ear? No.
Yeah, I remember when you did the unboxing of one. One of them was a little dog-eared.
Oh yeah, I actually sent that back to Amazon and got a refund for it.
Oh, there you go.
Because you're not supposed to send you damaged goods. So, I mean, if I ended up getting another one, I would probably use that one as the one that I got to send to the library in Gatineau, Quebec that gives out the ISBN numbers. There's like a Canadian government department that gives out the numbers for the ISBNs. In
Hmm.
America, you have to buy them. In Canada, we get them for free as long as we submit a book to their archives. So if I get another damaged one, that's the one that'll go to the archives. But
Okay.
the first time I just sent it back because they're not really, they want it for the archives for what's inside it. They don't care if the cover's a little bent, right?
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
this
go
book,
ahead.
Olivia Carpenter must rescue the lost city of Atlantis, a spaceship that has been trapped on Earth for over 11,000 years. Olivia's oracle demands it, and oracles must always be followed. How will Olivia complete this daring rescue without sending the planet into complete chaos? If the Atlanteans learn where their lost starship is being held, what will they do? Even more troubling, Olivia is being hunted by Wretchen's brothers and sisters, the Sanguine. These reptilian overlords farm humans as food, and they have caught Olivia's scent. Her blood smells of the Yanisma, and they mean to consume every last drop. Olivia's adventures continue in book two of a series that marries sci fi and fantasy with modern conspiracy theories. This follow up to the award winning book one has readers wondering aloud if this is really fiction or an unmasking of a very dark truth.
Wow. I like how you read that. I can't read very well, like me reading the words and processing it. I have trouble with that, but you were very expressive there. That
Oh, thank you.
that was fantastic.
I've always thought that I should have been a voice actor, but I just have no idea how to actually get into it. But I can sight read that kind of stuff. Like I sit down and I read to my husband and I sight read and I get through the big words and it's never a problem. So
I didn't mind you as the bartender and American Sunset.
yeah.
I mean, it was brief, but I remember it. So there you go.
Jack went home. It
There
was
you
like a
go.
Jack and Jill went up the hill thing, and I had to tell him, Jack went home.
There you go. Oh, that is great. I think you told me you were doing, correct me if I'm wrong, did you say a dozen of these in this series?
Yeah, so I the
Yeah.
the plan, so I've got the spines kind of numbered correctly
Uh-huh.
from the get-go. The plan was I have 13 alien species that are fighting to control planet Earth. And the
Hmm.
plan was that each book would be a deep dive into a different species.
Hmm.
So that would mean 13 books. I'm outlining book 3, which is called The Harvest, and it takes place largely on planet Earth. But it's going to be more of a deep dive into the bad guys. So I think I'm kind of still on track because like they're one of the 13. So I'm kind of, but actually now there's 14 because my imagination just it's difficult to say like I've got bad guys that are short gray aliens and then I've got good guys that are short golden aliens.
Oh, look at
And
that.
for anybody who's not watching, I'm showing a picture of that I painted in metallic gold of one of my alien characters, the Jinn. So the short grays are the Jinn, but they were on a planet orbiting a star that went supernova, and it messed up their DNA. And so it changed them into kind of a new species, except they're not really a new species, right? Are they a new species because their DNA is messed up, or are they the same? So I kind of have I've kept with the whole 13. And so yeah, so far every book is a deep dive into a different alien culture because I feel like that's the best way to show how that culture is different, how that species is different. So in book 1, the Jinn, they're all telepathic. So what happens in a world that's telepathic? This is kind of like a part of my world building talk, but if everybody's telepathic, nobody can lie, right? So if nobody can lie, there's like no deception. There wouldn't really be any crime because you wouldn't be able to get away with it. So it's a very different kind of world. But what happens and the way I show it is that my main Jin character, Amana, is a science officer on a ship that is near Earth when Olivia does her thing and sends that big spike of energy up through the galaxy, and it's Amana's ship that comes to get her. So they're away from the hive. And Amala learns so much about Olivia before returning to the hive. When Amana brings that information back, the queen of the hive doesn't want to accept it. And so they can't merge together. They can't think as one because they have different perspectives. And so that's how I show the problems with a hive mind society is what happens when someone steps out of line. So that's how I like to show the world as a character itself. And so that's why my idea was always 13 books, because also this was always planned to be a TV series. You don't want to start a TV series that doesn't have legs. It's got to be able to go on. It's not necessarily going to get the funding to go all the way to the end, but it has to be able to. So my initial concept in planning out the TV series was that each season would be a deep dive into a different alien species. And so now that's what I'm doing with the books, and that helps keep me organized and keep me on track. And I know where the story is going, and then we build the world and we figure out which world we're going to go into for this part of the story, and that helps me with the outlining.
Would you have the Trailer Park Boys be part of it, or do you think the alien ship will avoid that?
Oh goodness. I don't know what the Trailer Park Boys would have to offer because I don't know. None of my aliens smoke weed or drink beer, so I don't really.
Could you imagine Ricky being hauled up there in the alien ship?
Oh my
I got
goodness.
I got my grade 9, my grade 10.
Oh my goodness. Well, the first time you say, let's go, smokes, and they'd be like, I don't know what that is. And he'd be like, get me off this ship.
Oh
Bubbles
man.
probably would like it because there's a whole race of aliens that are like felines. They're called the Felicians, and they're cat-like, and they're able to heal wounds and diseases and stuff with their purr, which when cats purr, the frequency of a cat purr has been proven to heal muscle and bone tissue. So I expanded that and said this whole species can create different frequencies and then push them out through their paws to heal you. And they actually do that in book 1 and in book
Oh
2.
gee, I better get another cat quick then.
Ah! That's why
I
I love
I
it when my cats climb up on top of me and start purring. I'm like, let the healing begin.
Oh, there's nothing like the sound of a purring cat. I'll tell you
Oh,
that.
especially when it's like right on your chest, right by your face, and they're like warm and furry like a scarf. Oh, I love my
Oh,
cats.
my cat Skittles would and I would always hear it, the thump up on the bed.
Yep,
And he would try to do it
like a
like
ninja.
he thinks I don't know. Like
He's
and
trying to be
he
a ninja, but he's not.
and he pauses there for a moment just when he thinks I don't know. And he starts walking up on my leg and up onto my belly and then up to my chest. He gets right there and he stares me in the face and he's like, "Burton," I'm like, Skittles, my time to be up and your time to be up are two different things. Now, if I have my CPAP machine on, he'll rub against it.
Oh
Um,
gosh.
I'm like, Skittles, that's not what this is for.
But yeah,
But
so
it
so
never
we were
bothered me.
we were planning my plan was 13. And
Hmm.
if for some reason, see, there's one species that I don't even know if I can do a whole book on them because their name is the Procyon, and they used to be third dimensional physical form like us, and they evolved. And so now they're just like a frequency, and they show up, but they the way I describe it is they try to download and they can't fully like when on Star Trek back in the day when they would try to beam up and they couldn't fully beam up. That's what it looks like when they're trying to become physical to participate in the galactic council. They can never really fully show up, and they're not physical beings anymore. So I don't know if I can write a book in their realm. But I mean, I'm only on book 3. Like, it could be book 13, which would make sense. Kind of the ending of is in this weird, weird, weird place but how do you describe everything when nothing's physical, right? It would be very difficult to write. It would probably be a lot easier to do on TV because you could still see energy. I don't know. So the plan was 13 books, but we'll
Well,
see.
sounds
It's
to me
evolving.
like you've got a lot of ideas juggling around up there, and you're going on book three.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows what's going to come ahead, you know? So,
Like when I was halfway through book 2, book 3 was a completely different idea.
mhm.
And then at the end of book 2, I'm like, okay, I can't do what I was planning to do for book 3 because it doesn't make sense to do it right after this point where I got to. So that I have a whole outline for what was going to be book 3. It'll probably be 4 or 5. It's still in there. It's still absolutely relevant to Olivia's journey. I know what Olivia's journey is, but does Monday have to happen before Tuesday, right? Like, that's a bad analogy, but like she's got to go through this thing, but she doesn't have to go through this thing next. So I've bumped that one back. So that's actually like great for my process because once I get to the point where I'm going to use that book, the outline's already done. It'll need tweaking from other stuff that's happened, but yeah. So Olivia's got a lot of stuff going on. Like she's the first human with all of the alien DNA. She's the first fully cooked, ready to join the galaxy, and she's got to figure out how to bring the rest of us along. We just aren't ready. So she's got a lot of adventures coming.
I'd like to know where you come up with your ideas. Like, do you
I dream them.
you dream them? I
That's an
was gonna
easy
say, do you like
question.
go on a walk or something,
I
or are
I
you,
wake up, I wake up and I have to write. I have to write. I have to write. I wake up with like
okay?
images in my head, full scenes in my head, full conflicts in my head, and I have to write them down. So I'm getting this stuff while I dream, and the more I immerse myself in, like if I'm writing 2,000 words a day on a new first draft, I'm
Uh-huh.
dreaming a whole lot more about my you know, I've just recently been watching a lot of Below Deck Australia, which is Below Deck Down Under, sorry, which is a reality TV series about a bunch of people on a super yacht catering to super rich people. And now I'm dreaming about being on a super yacht at night. So my dreamscape is very vivid, and I use that to my advantage, and that's where I get all my good ideas.
Okay. That's awesome.
And then the good ideas for like Like the bad guys, my bad guys are built off conspiracy theories. So I don't have to dream that crap up at all. Like that's just already out there. Like the world has dreamed up kind of the worst monsters that we could possibly create. Why wouldn't I just use that to my advantage, right? So that's kind of where I'm at for that is like um yeah, the conspiracy theory bad guys kind of write themselves. And I think in book three, we might see Olivia um, find herself trapped in the catacombs underneath Little St. James, which is also known as Epstein Island. Because why not? Like they're writing it for me, right? They're out
That
there torturing children. So that marries me to my
Epstein
reptilians that
Island,
eat children.
yeah, Epstein Island. What I
Hard to imagine that that's actually happening on our planet,
you
but
want me to tell you something?
I don't know.
I really love the movie Eyes Wide Shut,
Okay.
Stanley Kubrick made, and a lot of people are saying that like because he made that and he passed away before it was released or whatnot. But a lot of people are comparing what was going on in private in that film to what people like the Epstein people were doing, and recruiting these people for this and this and this, And it's weird because after seeing that movie, I remember when I saw it in theaters in 1999, I'd be driving like downtown Fredericton and I'd go by these like big mansions and I'd be like, I wonder what's going on there. That just came to my head. Not that there's anything going on in them, but it's like people abuse power.
Oh, absolutely.
And yeah, and I don't get it. I don't know why people don't want to use their power to benefit people around them or benefit society, but you got these crooked assholes. Why I like people like Ricky Gervais that has the guts to get in front of people at a award show and just calls them out. It's
That's why I don't think that power corrupts everyone. I think that power corrupts people who are dark personality, dark triad personality.
hmm
They seek power and then they use power against other people. Ricky Gervais is a good guy who just happens to be so brilliantly funny that
hmm
he couldn't be ignored and he made himself a massive name because he was just so incredibly talented. He's not one of these dark personality that's like crawling to the top and stepping on people and willing to crush anyone to get there. He's not one of those. He's just brilliantly funny. And so he sees these dark personalities, using and abusing and whatever, and he calls it out. And I absolutely love him for it. But to your point, I don't think that I don't think that just because you have a mansion, you're necessarily like,
Oh, I'm
eyes
not
wide shut.
saying that
Well, no,
either.
and I know
No,
you
yeah,
weren't saying that,
yeah.
but what I'm trying to do in my book is like, okay, I'd love to talk about the sanguine for a second if I could.
Sure, go ahead. Yeah, please.
So the idea for this, because you were asking me about ideas, the idea for this came from Northeast India. There's a tribe. So they're not like city dwelling people, they're a tribe, and they have a long standing oral history that they have seen upright standing reptoid creatures come out of caves and kidnap humans to eat them. Okay, so I didn't make that up. I got that from doing a massive amount of research around this planet about like, the darker side of people's cultural beliefs and the enemies within. So my sanguine are taken from all different walks, but they're named after evil. So Wretchen wasn't named after evil. Wretchen was named like wretched, right? I
hmm
mean, I'm not gonna claim to be really smart in that. This was the very first bad guy, but the sanguine they have a hierarchy. So at the very top, they have violet blood and violet eyes. And they're 9.5 feet tall and they look like reptiles. So there's no way for them to hide, except Wretchen was the runt of the litter. And so he's only about 6.5 feet tall. So as long as he hides his reptile aspect, he actually can get away with passing as human. And so he's the only of the violets that can do that. And I'm going to read you the very first paragraph of book
Sure.
two. Gretchen admired the human face staring at him from the mirror, the prosthetic nose that gave him authority, the espresso contact lenses, the alabaster skin covering his scales. His eyelashes and eyebrows were glued firmly in place, as was his new black wig. His reflection was perfect. Right? So there's the violets, and most of them cannot pass. They used to walk amongst us as gods dressed differently, but they can't pass. So they're underground. So I have like a map in book two of their society. It's not going to be very easy for your viewers to really see, but there's like a map and they live at the top and everybody else lives underneath them. Their whole society is based on hierarchy. And the reason for that is that, so there's seven violets and Wretchen is one of them, but he's been in exile in book one and he comes back in book two. So that's how we get to start seeing them. They, in the past, took human DNA and crossed it with their DNA and came up with the next level down, which are the indigos. They come out with indigo eyes and indigo blood. And then they crossed human blood with the indigos and they got the blues. And they have blue blood and blue eyes. Those are the blue bloods. They're the first ones that are kind of able to disguise themselves other than Wretchen and walk among humans. So below them, they put more DNA, more human DNA. They got greens. They put more human DNA. They got the yellows. They put more human DNA. They got the oranges. They put more human DNA. They got the reds. The reds look exactly like humans. There's no way to tell them apart. They have red blood. They have red eyes, but they wear contacts. But the only way to tell them apart, and this is the key, because I had someone on my wall just this morning, like trying to make it seem, I feel like I had picked a certain group of people to call them the reptilians. And he said, well, people have said. I'm like, what people have said? You people have said. Anyway, I'm not going there. But
Mhm.
so the reds have zero empathy for humans. They don't care about it because they eat us, right? Like the sanguine eat in my story, let's separate this from reality. The sanguine eat humans and they're farming humans for food. So the reds who can pass as humans have zero empathy for humans because humans are beneath them, humans are their food. So we have tons of people in our society who behave in this way with zero empathy. They're called psychopaths, Machiavellians, and narcissists. And what I'm trying to say in my book is that if you meet a psychopath, a Machiavellian, or like a diagnosed narcissist, not people who are a little bit selfish every now and then, like narcissism is someone who doesn't have empathy for other people and uses people around them as tools, and it happens through their entire lives. Okay, so it's not like just someone was selfish and you call them a narcissist. But for me, the narcissists, the Machiavellians, those are the people who manipulate everybody and control them. Like, I guess I probably shouldn't say any names. I'll get in trouble. And psychopaths. So in my world, they are not human. They are reptilian that look human. And that's why they have zero empathy for us because they see us as food. And so I think that there is a lot of people who are in the top echelon of income, let's say, because you can't. I mean, there's echelons of of kindness and echelons of artistry, and but the people who have, not all the people, but a large portion of the people who have the money and who have the power have it because they are psychopaths or Machiavellians or even narcissists. And they have stepped on people and used people to get where they are, and they have zero empathy and zero regret and zero remorse. To me, those people aren't really human. They're the sanguine. So I'm trying to make sure that people understand I'm not pointing at like a race. I'm not pointing at a religion. I'm not pointing at a group of people other than the group of people that like to destroy other human beings. Those are my sanguine. So I want to make that part very clear. And the whole idea of this hierarchy. Oh, and this tribe that believes that they've seen reptiles come out of caves and kidnap humans, they say that there is 7 levels of them. So I didn't invent any of this as much as I'd like to say I'm a genius and I came up with all of this. I did a bunch of research and I took what someone else, a whole culture, has said is their experience, and I'm bringing it forward in my fiction.
It's interesting as you describe that, especially them disguising themselves as human. It reminded me, you ever see the John Carpenter film They Live?
I feel like I don't watch a lot of horror because I don't like to put
Well, this
myself in
is
that
this is
frightened mindset, but
sci-fi horror.
I think I've seen that one.
This one starred wrestler Roddy Piper,
Okay,
and
cool.
he's a drifter, and he accepts this job at this construction site and befriends with Keith David. And anyway, he's out walking around and he just stumbles across this alley's got like a box that's got all these sunglasses in it. He
Yes,
just grabs a pair, and when he puts them on, it's like everything's black and white, but he notices some people look like aliens. And when he pulls his thing glasses off, they look normal. And he puts the glasses on, but he also notices the signs. Like the sign when his glasses off says something. He puts a sign on, it says obey
yeah, or
or something.
consume, or
Consume.
I've seen clips. That's why I was familiar with. Now I gotta go watch that because that sounds a lot like kind of, you know, how do we see through the mask?
Yeah. I've had Roddy Piper's son and daughter on the show, and they talked about because there's uh, a fight scene, an alley fight scene that goes on for like 5 minutes, and I think it was kind of like improvised or something to that degree. Yeah, of course they're gonna have Piper do a, a fight scene in it, but it's funny because I ran into Keith David at Frightmare in the Falls. Very warm, inviting individual, but I brought that up, and he said that was pretty physically adoring.
Well, if it's a
But
5 minute fight scene, it probably took them about 5 days to film it.
well, you know what? Obviously, since Roddy Piper come up in wrestling, obviously, they're gonna use him to do something like that. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
yeah. But
Use people's talents.
I like the movie. I got it here on Blu-ray. I really like the movie. But when you mentioned that, it reminded me of that and how, they're concealing themselves. And I love there's one scene in it where Piper sees a normal looking person and sees somebody, an elderly woman or something like that who's actually an alien. And he's like, something's different here. He goes, you look normal. You really fucking ugly.
It's almost like there's a bunch of us who are getting the same type of story in a different way because it's there and the universe is resonating it and we're feeling it and we're writing it. You know what I mean? Like when the same kind of content keeps coming out over and over again. And I've never seen this movie. I've just
Mhm.
seen clips. So and I don't watch horror. I don't because I don't like getting scared because I don't like doing that to my system because there is a really good theory that I ascribe to that whatever emotion you feel affects your water. It affects the structure of your water.
They Live, I
And
think, is more a sci-fi. It's not really
okay,
yeah, it's more a
okay,
sci-fi than a horror film, So I mean it's
nice.
got suspense to it, it's got tension to it, but it's not a horror film in the traditional sense. I think the other Carpenter film that this kind of reminds me of is The Thing.
Okay.
And of course, The Thing, that is a horror film, but where they're in Antarctica and the thing can make itself look like anybody. And of course, nobody knows.
That it can do that.
Well, no, they know something's infiltrated them. They just don't know who is
Yeah.
infiltrated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I have seen that movie. That was a good movie.
yeah. So I like that. So and if you got 13 books of it, I'm like, yeah, and I'm gathering that all these books are going to be kind of different themed, or you're going to have some. You know how a lot of movies are. They make a sequel and it's the same thing. You're not doing that.
No, I have like a long arc that's going on and a lot of different things that are happening. Like the concept is that we are an alien science project.
Hmm.
And so we have alien DNA from 12 different species because they wanted us to have kinship to all but affinity to none so that we could judge the petty squabbles that they have between them and we wouldn't favor one over the other because we're related to everyone and we should understand where everyone's coming from was the concept. But I mean, when you're raised in your own culture, you understand your own culture. Like they, you know, so even the idea of this science project was not perfect, but they're also trying to commune with another species that is microscopic and also hive mind that exists on planet Earth and existed inside the chimpanzees. And they want to commune with that. And so that species is our mitochondria. And our mitochondria are not part of our cells. They have their own DNA. I'm not sure if you know that, but the thing inside every human cell that digests the energy is actually a bacteria that merged with a biological non-bacterial cell a long time ago. So we've already been invaded. We already are a hybrid. Every single human is a hybrid between whatever came before these mitochondria and the mitochondria coming in. So I have a race that hasn't yet been declared called the mitochon, but we actually see them at the end of book two. So, I mean, there's nothing weird about me saying this because at the end of book two, Olivia meets this species that she's never even known existed that exists as part of her. And she meets this other part of her. So it's kind of neat writing that stuff, you know? Like I just love where my imagination goes. I mean, you know, I say some scenes come out from dreams, but then sometimes I'm just sitting here and I'm writing the story and the characters take it in a direction and I'm like, "Oh, that's really interesting. Let's go down that rabbit hole." Because until I actually publish it, nothing's set in stone. So let's go down the rabbit hole and see where we go. And usually when there's like a thread to tug that's like unraveling a sweater, it's a heck of a lot more interesting than the ho hum shit that I thought I was going to write. So that's where I go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you want to talk about your next book project? I'm gonna,
Sure. So
yeah,
I'm
because
writing a
you've got,
nonfiction book.
yeah, The
And
Sixth Sense. Yeah,
it's
you touched on it briefly. Let's go into that in more detail here.
yeah, so it's called The Sixth Sense, and then the
Hmm.
subtitle is going to be What It Really Is and How It Can Save Your Life, which is a big claim. But for me, it's very obvious that we have this sixth sense, but that's because I was kicked in the head by a horse when I was 4, and it woke me up to the difference between the feeling of safety and the feeling of danger. I was petting a horse. I was 4 years old, but this horse was fine. We were on vacation in England, and my parents were just up a little hill setting up on a picnic table for lunch, and I was petting the horse. And then I turned to wave to my dad, and my dad started waving at me frantically. I didn't know the horse got spooked, and it turned around, and it because I was looking at my dad, it wasn't face on. If it had kicked me right in the nose, I probably wouldn't be here. But it kicked me in the side of the head, and I went flying. And ever since then, and I don't know if I didn't know it before, I just attribute it to that because I have a few memories before that from when I was 3, but there was no danger in any of those memories. So I don't know, but I was in danger and I didn't know it. And after that, I knew when I was in danger. And I've always known when I was in danger ever since, even when it's like a small amount of danger. My spidey senses go off. Okay. So people talk about their spidey senses, or they talk about like women's intuition, or they talk about like that kind of stuff, but it's a sense. So the sixth sense is not ESP. ESP is extra sensory perception. It's outside of senses. Senses are defined as an outside stimulus that you can interpret. Those are our sensory functions. So our eyeballs interpret wavelengths in the light spectrum. It's a frequency, it's a wave that has a frequency between 400 terahertz and 790 terahertz. And each color of the rainbow is a slice of that. So, like red is 400 to 460, 470. I don't have those numbers memorized. I do know the range. Our ears hear waves at a specific frequency. Again, it's just waves at a frequency. It's a much lower frequency. Our ears hear from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. So we're in hertz to, I don't know what the thousand, I can't remember what the prefix for thousand is at this point. But so terahertz is like the step beyond billion. I believe terahertz is in the trillions. So yeah, so light wave is really, really, really high frequency. 40 trillion cycles per second, or 400 trillion cycles per second. But it's all just waves at a different frequency. So Masaru Emoto, who is a Japanese scientist, did this experiment with water, where he took water from one source, he separated it into two different containers, and for 30 days he told one container, I love you, and he told the other container, I hate you, I want you to die. And after 30 days, he took water from each container and he froze it and he took pictures of it. And the water that had been given love turned into a beautiful snowflake. And the water that he had given hate wouldn't crystallize at all. So the emotion that he was giving the water changed the physical structure of water. That means that the emotion was something he was transmitting to the water. Emotion is a frequency that we transmit. And that's why when someone says, you could cut the tension with a knife, we have a saying in the English language for when frequency is felt. You walk into a room and you feel tension. You don't see the tension. You don't smell the tension. You feel the tension. Emotion creates a frequency that we can feel. And so that's what my book is about. It's claiming emotion as the sixth sense and taking you through exercises that help you develop that sense so that you can feel, first of all, you need to know what you're feeling inside and name it properly. Some people try to heap guilt on you, right? Have you ever had anyone try to make you feel guilty? Guilty isn't a feeling that comes from someone else. Guilty is a feeling that comes from in you. So nobody can make you feel guilty. They can make you feel abused. They can make you feel bullied. They can make you feel a whole lot of things. They can't make you feel guilty. So the whole purpose of this book is to explain emotion as a frequency and therefore as a sense, teach you how to use it so that when you're in the presence of a psychopath, they have very low emotional affect. They don't feel a lot of big emotions at all. They're very flat, cold, those kind of terms. If you're used to feeling emotional frequency off people, when you're around a psychopath, you will feel the absence of that frequency. And you will know that you're around a dangerous person and you don't point it out and you don't say anything. You just don't associate with that person anymore. If all of us who are not psychopaths, Machiavellians, and narcissists were able to feel that from people and just avoided those people, we wouldn't have those problems anymore. And the same thing's coming with AI.
AI is getting scary. I'll tell you what some of it's really obvious, but some of it is so annoying. Like I watch a lot of animal videos, for example, I hate seeing these AI thumbnails. Like there was one that showed a gorilla fighting a Komodo dragon, and it's like they don't even live in the same area
It's
of the
so
world.
ridiculous. It's so
You
ridiculous.
know, it's just bullshit. Gorillas are like in the Congo of Africa, and Komodo dragons are in an island there in of Asia, and it's like, like stop this shit. Or you'll see some of these are
Oh,
dumb, but some of these political protests, where you've got the ICE agents or somebody and somebody protesting, and they'll have a line pointed saying, fight me. And then some officer sprays something and they're down the ground. And I'm like, this is not even going to happen in this video.
no.
Like, to me, it's like it's bullshit to get people to click the video.
Yeah, it's
And
clickbait.
I hate that.
Yeah.
You know, I
You're
figure
going
if
to
you
hate it
don't,
even more when AI robots that look human are walking among us and you can't tell who's human and who's not. You're
well,
going to
that
really
all
hate
started
that.
with sex dolls.
Yeah, they probably in these mansions behind closed doors, they probably already have them.
Yeah. Uh,
But the way that you will be able to tell if someone is a human or if someone is an AI robot will be whether or not they emit emotional frequency because their face will mimic our emotions, just like a psychopath practices mimicking. I don't know if you've looked into psychopaths, but they will like walk past a gory scene of an accident and they'll look at the people's faces who are like crying and grieving and they'll be like, oh, okay. And then they go home later on and they practice it in the mirror so that they can fake that emotion because they don't feel these emotions. So
that kind of reminds
knowing what
me
an
of
emotion feels like is going to be the only way to protect yourself.
Christian Bale in American Psycho.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I just killed this person. What's for lunch? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
zero flat, right?
Yep.
So if you feel emotions and you normally are around people and they've got all these big emotions swirling around and then you meet someone who doesn't have any of that, it's like either that's AI or that's a psychopath. Now, a psychopath will still have rage and anger and they have like a low level of emotion, but it's very difficult to feel because it's so low. But I mean, to me, there's not that much difference between AI and psychopath. Like both are really dangerous to humanity. They've already said so. So I kind of treat them in the same category and I want to know who's who and I want to be able to educate the world. This is how you tell the difference because our senses are the only things that are going to save us from these dangers.
Kind of reminds me of something I said a long time ago. I'm so glad I work overnights. I have very minimal contact with people. Unless I'm in Toronto at these conventions, I have minimal contact with people. It's like, yeah, it's quieter and less bullshit.
And you don't have to absorb other, you probably, I feel like you're a very empathic person that you feel big and you feel other people's emotions and when people get upset you feel bad for them, right? So when
Hmm.
you're around emotions all the time, big emotions, if you're an empath, it can be overwhelming and it makes sense that you know I could see empaths loving to work in a lab or overnight security or like what you do. Like there's a lot of great places where empaths can hide from the dangerous emotions of the world.
Yeah, yeah, it's becoming a shit show out there. I like the fact that like with your art, you're not going with AI. Like even on here, I gotta think comes up on the Zoom, it says AI, and I always dismiss it. Like I don't need to do that, and you know, I I I can pretty much go with my own devices, whether it's perfect or not. Who cares? It's me, so
Yeah.
yeah. but
Well,
but
I'm
yeah.
definitely shirking the AI because I'm drawing all of my own characters. I'm
Well,
doing all
you
my
know
own
what? It's
character
interesting
art.
because that was the next thing you brought up, and I know you showed me some of your art. You know, a long time ago, it would have been years ago now. I wanted to get into drawing like that because I always admired when I see people draw cartoon characters and they make it seem like so seamless and effortless the way they would just, you know, just go about doing it. And for me, it just became a nightmare to try to do it. And then I got to the point where I just never did it. And I just got doing other things. And maybe that's just not a skill that I was meant to have, you know, because we all get talents in different areas, you know. So, I like the fact that you were able to get some of these books and you were able to adapt to that and
Yeah.
engage with it. I love what you're doing here.
So I bought this book that's like how to draw manga, and
Hmm.
then I did some of the stuff in the front of the book that like practice to teach you how
Hmm.
to do it. And then from that, that's how I drew Amana. She's in the collector's edition of the first book, which is no longer available. There was only 100 of them printed. But and then I did a rough drawing of Olivia, which you can't really see, but I want to show one more sketch. This is Deji. He is the prince, uh, in their world, the Adrono of the Dogos people, who are like a Mer people. And I took those sketches and I did watercolor painting. So this is Amana of the Jinn, and she's painted all in gold. So that's why I'm just showing you that she's
That looks
sparkly.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Especially love the eyes
Yeah,
that you did here.
they're like little fleshy tentacles that stick
Yeah.
out from the top that allow they're like sensory input, right? So they're telepathic, so they have like kind of different sensory stuff going on.
Hmm.
And then I did one of Olivia. This is my main character, Olivia, with her crazy curly red hair
Hmm.
and her bright green eyes. And then I did this painting of Tuatha, who is a Daon. And the Daons have wings and they have shimmery, sparkly skin. So that's why I painted it with a shimmery watercolor paint.
I like that.
Yeah, thanks. And bright blue hair.
Hmm.
All the Daons have bright blue hair. So actually, I don't know if all of them do. It's just Tuatha that does, but maybe all of them do. I haven't got there yet because
Are
we
you
haven't gone
saying
to the
that
Dayon planet.
Are you saying that Marge Simpson is part of that?
Nice. Marge doesn't have wings. The Daons are actually able to manipulate human emotions, calm us down, amp us up, make us have orgies. That was their whole purpose of being part of Project Human, was to come here every now and then, spread their shimmer on everyone and have everybody copulating and having babies so that we would merge all the DNA into one a whole lot faster. So that was like kind of the point of the Daons being part of it. But in book two, Olivia's having some really big feels, and Tuatha is able to actually just pull them right out of Olivia's head and calm her right down, but kind of goes too far, and Olivia gets like a little bit like dumb drunk. So it's funny. It's fun to do that kind of stuff, right? They all have these weird abilities, and I get to use those and in delightful ways.
How long did it take you to like did you used to draw when you were young or was this something that you just took up? And how long did it take you to really adapt to it? Because you strike me as somebody who learns fast.
I used to draw when I was younger.
Hmm.
I remember going to the Cherrybrook Zoo in St. John and seeing a white-tailed gibbon in a cage all by himself, and monkeys are very social. And he just looked so sad. He was looking at me from the cage, like as if to say, please kill me. And I can feel emotion. So I could sense the extreme sorrow coming off of this monkey. And I came home and I got a sketchbook and I drew the monkey because he was haunting my head. Um, I have been a painter
Hmm.
for a while, so I painted that.
Yeah, that looks great.
And then I paint, generally when I paint it's from a photograph, not from my mind. So I'm good at like looking at the light and dark shadows in a photograph and being able to um, put them on the canvas. But in terms of like my ability to draw, that's the thing that I've always been not as confident about. So I drew that image of Olivia and then I tried to recreate it on another piece of paper and I couldn't. I couldn't get it right. I couldn't get it right. I couldn't get it right. I went out and bought myself some tracing paper and I traced the drawing that I had done. Well, first I actually had to enlarge it on the photocopier because it wasn't big enough. So I enlarged it on the photocopier, then I traced it, and then I added more because the drawing of Olivia wasn't finished, but every time I tried to finish it, I messed it up. So I photocopied a half done image and then again and again. And I think I tried 10 times to get it right. And when I finally got it right, then I used some tracing paper to trace that. And I used the tracing paper to transfer it to the watercolor. I'm much better at just doing painting watercolors than I am at like the drawing, like doing something like that. I've got some shading on her face and in her hair and stuff, and I'm just much better with the watercolors than I am. I have some other watercolors that I did because I was building a game that was all about garden vegetables.
Okay. Oh, nice. There you go.
These are all just hand drawn in watercolors. So
I
yeah,
had a
I'm pretty
couple
good with the
carrots this
watercolors. I'm
morning.
not so good with the drawing. But I don't want to use AI. So I'm like,
I don't blame you.
how can I make this happen? And so it's just become this this thing of love that I love my characters and I'm gonna figure out how to draw them. And I mean that drawing of Deji,
Mhm.
I have a previous concept that's crappy. It's really not good, and I'm not going to show it on the screen. And then I got back into my How to Draw a Manga book, and I did the head right, and I added all the and it looks way better. Yeah, it looks way better. But I need that structure. Every time I do one of these drawings, I have to go back to the Learn to Draw book, and I have to use the techniques of like how to make the head and where to put the eyes and they lay it out really well, and I find it quite easy to follow. And I'm not at all confident in my drawing, but once I put the watercolor onto it, I'm a lot more
I'm
confident.
confident in your drawing.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I've seen famous cartoonists, and I think
Mhm.
that their drawing sucks. I don't connect with their drawing style,
Mhm.
right? So you were saying that you don't think you're very good. I think it really is a matter of confidence. If you draw something and you love it, some people are going to love it and some people aren't, right? Like
Mhm.
some people and simplicity is better. If you look at Peanuts, Charles Schultz, those are very like they're almost line drawings just colored in, right? There's not a whole lot of detail there, but he's got a style. He's got a style with the big head and the little eyes on the body, and that's what he does, and he sticks with it, and he's really, really, really good at it. So if
I had a couple of voice actors from Peanuts on.
cool. If
Charlie
you
Brown and
ever
Lucy.
decide to, if you ever decide to take up your drawing again, Greg, you just have to like pick a way to draw it and then be confident in that and love your drawings. And there are
Mhm.
people who will love it, and you don't even have to do it for anyone. Just do it for
Mhm.
yourself. But the key is confidence, right? Like if
Mhm.
you listen to a jazz musician, they go off key. They get once is a mistake. If you make a mistake once, it's a mistake in music. If you make the mistake over and over again, it's called jazz. So like they just make
And
mistakes with a whole lot of confidence and they just keep going and it's called jazz. So just do jazz drawings.
there you go. There you
Make the
go.
same mistake again and again and again, and soon it's an art form.
Well, manga's a good way to go. Do you ever watch the anime movies? I've seen a few of them, but
Not so much.
yeah.
Not
Okay.
so much,
I
but
don't I don't really follow it, but I have seen a handful of the movies and they look flashy. It's a very different kind of animation, so
I was very much into cartoons when I was younger. I used to watch Voltron. I used to watch He-Man, the Masters of the Universe,
are you kidding
She-Ra,
me?
Gem and the
I have
Holograms. Like,
I have a bunch of Masters of the Universe action figures here
ooh, nice. My
because
brother
they've
had
been
the whole Voltron set. He had
yeah.
all five lions that would attach together and make
Hmm.
Voltron. And I
We
was the
had
only one that would
those.
play with them, so
We used to have those, but they've been re-releasing the Masters of the Universe
yeah.
figures. So they have better articulation, and stuff like that. And I've been collecting those. And
But
it's
Ram
like
Man, you'd like push his head down and then you'd hit him on the butt and his head go.
they have them so he looks better, so his legs aren't stuck right together.
Okay.
Yep, they made Ram Man so his legs aren't stuck right together, but he still does the same thing. But uh the articulation of the figures is better, and they don't have that rubber underneath the leg, would always wear and they break. You could bend at the knees and the elbows and the wrists and the ankles and stuff like that, which you couldn't do before. But they look like the old figures. They
Oh,
just
that's good.
upgraded them. Yeah,
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
I don't
So,
like it when they reissue stuff and they change the look. It's like it was meant to look a certain way for a certain reason, when they redo a cartoon and they make it look. I mean, Teen Titans is a great example of that. Teen Titans came out and it was originally like it was animation, but it was anime. Like it
mhm,
was like the big crazy eyes and stuff. And then they redid it in a different way. And then now they've got Teen Titans Go, and it's kind of the artwork is back to more of the original, the way the artwork was supposed to be. And I like the authenticity. So I watch Teen Titans Go because I like
mhm.
that callback to the way it was when I was a kid. If you make it look different, I'm not going to connect.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I know there's a Masters of the Universe movie coming out this
Yeah.
year, but I'm very skeptical about it
That's why
because,
all the toys are coming back out, though, because they're releasing the movie so they can sell the toys.
well, look, I like Idris Elba. I think he's a fine actor. I don't like the race swapping of Man-at-Arms. I don't like the fact that they got Kristen Wiig doing the voice of Roboto, I'm like, because they're putting in a position where you're compromising with audiences that grew up with this.
Yeah, it's like the new Harry Potter. They've made Severus Snape a black character when it says in the book that he has sallow skin, and there's a definition for sallow, and it's not someone who's black. So, I understand that, but I mean, even in that, like those books were written with all different types of people in them, and then they're
Hmm.
still saying, well, we don't have enough of this look at this position.
I
Go
hate that
go write
D
something
in.
else. Like, I mean, Deji in my he's Dogos, but he's described as having obsidian scales that shimmer fuchsia when they hit the light. So it's very specific what he looks like. If you try to turn that into like, I mean, it'd have to be animated if this was ever a TV show because you're not going to have someone with the big triceratops head with like obsidian scales. I mean, I guess you could, but it would take you way more in makeup than it would just to do it animated. Um, but if they tried to turn Deji into like someone with white scales, I'd be pissed. That's
Hmm.
not the way I wrote him. We need to be I mean, if they want a really great book to turn into a movie that centers people of color, they should be looking at N.K. Jemisin. She is an amazing author. She is a person of color. She writes all these variety of characters. She's writing like dystopian fiction, so it's like way in the future. But she's got these people with ash blow hair. I want to see that on the screen, right? Like she described her characters so well. I want to see them. And they would have to use people of color to bring that Broken Earth trilogy to life. Let's do that instead of remaking stuff that was written by white people anyway. Like if your focus is we need to have diversity and inclusion, then include the writers who are people of color who are writing diversity in their worlds instead of like trying to take something that J.R.R. Tolkien wrote and like slam it full of characters that were never there. Like that stuff's just annoying. I think that's
No.
why they do it. I think they're doing it to try and cause conflict. Because again, the people that are making these decisions are the psychopaths and the Machiavellians. So they're making these decisions to try and cause conflict between us little people so that we never end up looking at where the conflict is actually coming from.
You know, it's interesting too because Masters of the Universe, I mean, and I'm not the only one that made this argument. They have a perfectly terrific Black Warrior character named Clamp Champ. Why not infiltrate him in there? You
Yeah,
know,
see, I don't know Masters of the Universe that well to, I've never heard of that character, but
Skeletor had an Oriental henchman named Jitsu. I mean,
right.
you've got them there.
I mean, Skeletor could be black. He just doesn't have any skin anymore.
Well, he's
He's
got
a
blue skin.
skeleton.
Yeah, he's got blue.
Everybody has a skeleton, and everybody's skeleton is the same color. So give that role to anyone you want. You know,
Actually,
like,
he was Keltor before he was Skeletor, and his skin was blue.
oh, okay.
So
Well, there you go. Like, we don't have any
yeah,
blue people on planet Earth.
yeah.
So,
Like I mean, when you look at the Masters of the Universe, you got characters that are all. I mean, just look at the Skeletor's henchmen. You know, I mean, Beastman, Merman, Trapjaw. Triclops. I mean, the race swapping Triclops. It's like stop this shit, because it's not how I remember the characters. And then if I point that out, I get called a racist, and I'm like, no, I'm not racist. And this is one thing I'll argue. I'd like people talk about this DEI thing. I remember back 1982, there was a little movie that came out called 48 Hours. You had Nick Nolte, Eddie Murphy.
right.
Was it written for a white and black character? Who knows? But I guarantee you, I know why Eddie Murphy got cast
Because he's
because
fantastic.
not only that, he became a big breakout star from Saturday Night Live. And 48 Hours made money. The following year, they released Trading Places. And then went following year after that, Beverly Hills Cop.
Right.
Guess what? Had nothing to do with DEI.
No, it had to do with the fact that he was making bank. That's what they care
And
about.
I'll say this: I like his Nutty Professor more than Jerry Lewis's
Yeah,
because I found it was far more complex.
absolutely. I agree with you
You know,
100%.
yeah. But I hate this whole notion of we just got to throw this in here for the sake of it. One person that does this well, Spike Lee does it well with black characters because he writes a lot of movies like that. But Jordan Peele does well with it. I really enjoyed the movie Us
Okay.
because it's a horror thriller, but it's got a black family in it. But you know what? The focus is not on the race because they could have
No,
had any race play this family. And it never took me out of it.
no.
I was still able to look at this
And
as
why
I
would it?
still,
Why
yeah,
would it take you out of it? Exactly. Because
yeah,
it's not like you associated those characters with a specific visual the way you do with He-Man. Because He-Man was
exactly.
established. There's canon.
Yep. And I'm all for it if like Jordan Peele's done this, and he's done it really well. But I hate it when like I didn't go to the live action Little Mermaid. I'm sure the actress is fine, but I mean Little Mermaid, it was the red hair and I mean it was and the whole thing they did with Velma and Scooby Doo with that animation. It's like
Okay.
yeah, they
And on the other side of the fence, Greg, I would be really upset if they did a biopic on Martin Luther King Jr. and they cast a white person.
I
I'd be
agree
really
with that.
upset. I'd be crying
Yep,
from the hilltops. That's not okay.
exactly. Another thing they did too, I saw the last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie, beautifully animated. They took April O'Neil, who we already pictured was this white female with newscaster with the yellow outfit on. They again made her black and they made her frumpy
Oh, wow.
and beautifully animated. That took me completely out of the fucking movie because like all I felt like as I'd be a virtue signal through the whole thing is like stop. I hate the DEI thing. I've had debates with people about this, but it's like, listen, I had an eye operation back a couple of years ago, had a retina tear. All I needed to hear was that the person that was going to do the operation, that this was what they were skilled at.
Yeah, yeah,
That's all I needed to hear.
yeah.
What I don't want is them bringing in somebody because of their race or gender or whatever to operate on me because of that. Because then that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. You
Yeah.
hear a lot of this about planes going down right now and crashing, or people getting licensed for uh, truck drivers because they're playing that game. And it's like, stop it.
I don't think the truck driving is playing that game, to be fair. I think the truck driving is more to do with um, hiring low people who are willing to take low wages from other
Well,
countries.
you know what I'm talking about with these, like there was in the States, a person that did a fucking U-turn in the
Oh
middle
my
of the road,
God. Oh my
and
God.
there was
But that's someone who either doesn't understand the rules of the road or doesn't care.
well, he
I
obviously didn't
mean,
care. I saw
I
footage,
saw
and
the
he just,
video. I
yeah,
saw the video. He got out. He just looked around like it was nothing. Like he just caused all these people to die and there was nothing. Well, to me, that looks like a red sanguine.
yep,
To me, that looks like someone who has zero empathy for the humans that you just killed. I don't care what your skin color is. I care about
mhm,
how you treat your fellow people. And if you don't
yeah,
have empathy for human life, I'm not interested.
yeah,
That's my line in the sand because that's the only way I can tell. The only way I can tell the good guys from the bad guys is do you care about you did you if you hurt someone, do you care? You know?
mhm,
Like
yeah. So like if somebody's like I got a hernia right now and I totally gotta wait like 2 years before I can even get operated on. Woohoo, you know? But I don't want operated on somebody based on DEI. I want operated on by somebody who this is what they do. This is their skill set. That's important. And
well,
I'm
and
a
what we need to understand though, Greg, in Canada, our existence and our upbringing is very different from what they experience in America. Down there, up here, our school system is run provincially. So all of the schools in the province of New Brunswick are supposed to be basically, well, all of the English schools anyway, because there's two different streams. But all of the English
Mhm,
schools are supposed to be delivering the same curriculum. They have curriculum outcomes. They have to teach certain things at certain times. They have standardized tests across the province.
mhm,
In the States, the schools are funded by the local property taxes. So when you get into like an inner city location that is going to be more predominantly colored people, and they have low property values, so they have low property taxes, so their kids get shittier education than the people living in a fancy place. This is what the elites, the rich people have created to keep themselves on top because their children get a better education. So I see the argument from that side of the story. Because if you're born in a place where you're never, ever, ever going to get a good education, there's a certain point in a child's brain's evolution
mhm.
where, like, when they're very young, they learn a ton. And as we get older, we learn less. So if children are not being educated in the same way across the board, then you are absolutely going to have people who are less advantaged because of where they were born. And I'm not okay with that.
I actually didn't know that about the States, so
Yeah,
that's
there are
that, yeah.
schools. So if the school doesn't, if there's not enough property tax to fund the school this year, then there's not enough next year, and there's not enough next year. And after 50 years, you have schools falling down
Oh
around the
wow.
children. How can you learn in an environment like that? So I think we do need to be very careful when we just automatically absorb American culture into Canada, because that's been a problem for us for 50 years that we're expected to just absorb their culture. My books, when I write color and flavor and neighbor, it's COLOUR. And Americans don't like it. COLOR. Well, okay. How do you spell glamour? Glamour magazine, Glamour. There's the key that that's the way it was supposed to be, and your Mr. Noah Webster screwed it all up when he made the Webster's Dictionary. He just wanted to make a name for himself. He wanted to be someone important. So he screwed up the English language. You know, I'm Canadian. I go with Canadian spelling, and that's my Canadian spelling, and I'm not absorbing US culture. I don't hate US culture. It's not mine, right?
It's
Like the
funny how
US wouldn't,
it's funny how you said that because I've had times where I would spell a word like when I write my film reviews and I'd write a word like say glamour and I'd go put the More and then it would like have that red squiggly line underneath it and I'm like okay I'll give it the other spelling and then the red squiggly line would disappear and I'm like okay I won't argue I'll go with that or something like center. I put
yeah,
ER, but it's red squiggly line. Okay, RE, whatever, you know.
yeah. But
I
see, the autocorrect features in Microsoft Word were always set to American English, and we're supposed to just use American English. No, I'm Canadian. I'm not using American English, and that's okay, and that should be okay. Like it should be okay for Americans to have their culture, and it should be okay for us to have ours. But like back to my point, we need to be really careful that we're not saying when we're talking about DEI in Canada is very different concept than DEI in the US
okay.
because of how their education system works. And I think that's a really important distinction because,
I didn't
people,
know that. It's
yeah,
you when you brought that up, I had no idea about
yeah,
the school
that's what I'm
systems.
here for. That's what I'm here for. I'm educating people about the craziness of the world.
Oh, there's a lot of craziness in the world, I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But
And I mean, when you look at these acting schools, like to go to there's a school for acting in New York. I can't remember what it's
mhm.
called, but I looked into it once, and their tuition is so incredibly expensive that if you don't have rich parents, you're not ever going to dig yourself out of debt. Like so that means that the only people that get to go and get that instruction are going to be the people from the affluent families. And so that's why, but they have created a system that perpetuates this idea that you're if you're born poor, you're never going to get out. It's kind of like the caste system in India that has been very much looked down upon and oh, this is horrible. Like if you're born into the class of society that cleans people's toilets, that's all you're ever going to be allowed to do. And people are like, that's not fair. Well, that's what they have going on in the US, but they haven't named it. So very different culture, and I'm glad that we don't do that up here. And they might be trying to bring that to us because I don't know. Carney seems to be trying to make us American. So
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I never wanted to be a cleaner. It's just I just needed a job. But I'll tell you
yeah,
one thing. When the pandemic happened, I didn't hear anybody fight for the cleaners to have their wages
nope,
heightened. It was
nope,
all doctors and nurses.
yep,
Nobody said anything about cleaners. You know why? Because we're considered uneducated, stupid. But I'm like, I would argue I was more on the front because I worked during that whole thing.
yeah.
I would argue I was
You were
more on the front
cleaning
line.
the virus off of surfaces, so you were in direct contact with it all the
Yep,
time.
yep. And
I
it
get it.
just, yeah, it's like really, like, what about us? You know, what about my coworker who I work in my with my 8 hour building at night? She said the same thing. You know, it was just infuriating. It's like, you know, it's like we didn't count, but it's like, you know, we were like the unsung heroes of the pandemic.
I wonder what would have happened if all of the cleaning staff had just said, you know what? I'm not going to work until you give me what's fair. And then they had nobody to clean anything. That would have been a problem. That would have
Yeah.
been a really big problem.
I have one day though that stood out. I got done working. I went to this coffee shop. I forget what the name of it was, but I went in to get a tea, and the guy was like, could you give me a moment? I'm just brewing a fresh pot. And I was like, okay. I said, I'm fine. I said, I just got done overnight work, cleaning, so I'm just kind of resting up and just take your time. And he says, oh, and he said, you guys don't get enough credit for the shit you guys put up with.
Yeah,
And he ended up giving me my tea for free, which he didn't have to do, you
that's
know.
nice.
That guy got it, you know. But
And a little bit of recognition can go a long way.
well, I always love these movies like The Toxic Avenger or even Nicolas Cage in Willy's Wonderland, where he's has to clean up this place and he has to deal with a bunch of possessed animatronics, and I'm like, yeah, yeah. Let's let person that does my kind of job beat the hell out of these things. Let's go for it.
Have you ever heard of Typhoid Mary?
No.
Okay, Typhoid Mary, there was a big typhoid epidemic in the United States. I think it was in New York, typhoid fever.
Hmm.
And um, it was happening in rich families. It was spreading among rich families, which is why it got attention. Because if it had been spreading among the poor, nobody would have given a shit. But what eventually came out was there's this lady named Mary who was a housekeeper and cook, and she had typhoid fever, but she was completely immune to it. So it didn't make her sick and it didn't give her any symptoms. And she would go work for a house, they'd get sick, they'd die, she'd move on and work at another house. And because this, street urchin was street urchin, cleaning lady, housekeeper was going from richer to richer, she was spreading the disease among all the rich people, and they were spreading it among themselves as well. They ended up actually figuring out who she was. She was like basically patient zero for most of it. And I think they put her in one of those island-born asylums for people with typhoid to like live out the rest of her life. Like
Okay.
she couldn't, you know. So it would be like somebody who has Ebola but suffers nothing from it and then just goes around and typhoid fever kills you. So she was spreading it all around, but she was in contact with their food and she was shedding into their food, and that's how they were getting sick. But they never looked at they never looked at the lowly people. This was like a problem going through the rich community and who is spreading it. And
Hmm.
so there's an interesting little tidbit for you to look up. Typhoid
Well,
Mary.
there you go. There you go. You're educating me today, you know. You have anything else you'd like to plug and promote on here?
No, I would love to plug book two,
Yes,
Atlantis
absolutely.
Rising, big
Hmm.
giant adventure. If you haven't read book one yet, Project Human, this book still has 5 stars on Amazon. How many books have only 5 star ratings? Like if I had anything less than a 5 star, it wouldn't be a 5 star anymore. So I don't have a lot of reviews, but the reviews that I have are from people that I don't know. It's like complete strangers that have reviewed this book and given it 5 stars. So it takes me a while to get from book one to book two to whatever. That's because I'm taking my time. I'm doing multiple edits. I'm getting it right so that you can read a really amazing story. And if you read it again, like I've had a couple people who've read Project Human more than once, and they said that they got different stuff out of it the second time through. So it's not even like, I mean, you might want to borrow from the library, but you probably want to own a copy. So you can go to Amazon, get it on Amazon, Project Human and Atlantis Rising, with more to come. And then my new book, The Sixth Sense. The best thing to do would just be to write down the title because I'm publishing that under my legal name, which is Bronwyn Mosier. Bea Waters is my pen name for science fiction because I always plan to do both. So you
Hmm.
won't be able to find it in the same way. Um, but yeah, that's what I want to plug is go out and buy my book.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, all they to plug that at the airport too.
Yay!
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, anything else you want to plug before we close off?
No, No, we're great. I want to thank you for bringing me on and bringing me on again and bringing me on again. It's lovely to see you. And
Yeah. Well, I
yeah,
think Tommy's looking forward to having you back on. It was cool too that you connected with Brandy McKenzie.
yes, yes,
Brandy is I met her at Frightmare in the Falls because
lovely.
she was working with Warrington Gillette, who was Jason coming through the window at the end of Friday the 13th part two, you know? Well, she worked with him 2 years in a row. She worked with him the second year because he requested her. She was one of the people that would work with the talent, but she's also a cosplayer and a
Oh,
really, really
lovely.
good one. Yeah, I've got a few videos on my trip. I know at Fan Expo she always has her little dog in a carriage. I call her dog Little Shit. But nonetheless, she has her dog with her, but she was dressed as Dorothy from Wizard of Oz at Fan Expo. But I mean, I've seen her dressed as she had her dog dressed up as Chucky, which was
Oh my God, that's great.
it was hilarious. And but I mean, she was there the after party. She was dressed as Elvira. She's very creative that way, but she promotes a lot of this stuff. So um, she would be somebody too you might want to connect with in terms like if you ever want to get booked at one of these things or something, connect with her because
Cool.
yeah, she called me.
You mentioned Chucky, and you know what came to my mind? I know this is a complete tangent, but I love Jennifer Tilly. You know the Chucky movies, right?
Yep,
I love Jennifer Tilly. Like
yep.
she's on one of the Housewives shows now, and she is just such a hoot. She's
Of
so
course she
much
is.
fun. She's so much fun.
She was
Like
a bride of Chucky.
I've got five, a list. If I had a list of five people that I'd love to like meet and have coffee with or have lunch with, she would be one of them. Like, she's a World Series of Poker tournament winner. Like, the girl is cool.
For
So
me, it
I'm a
would
bit of
be
a
Emma
fan.
Stone. For me, it would be Emma Stone.
Nice. I have
Nothing.
a couple. Like, I mean, there's a couple of people that I would really love to just like um Seth MacFarlane. Oh my God, it would be have amazing to have dinner with that guy. Like the stuff he could tell you, the stuff he would learn. Like, ooh, that'd be
I
exciting.
love Ted.
Oh, did you see the second season?
Oh no, I haven't seen. I don't watch television. I have the movie.
Okay, they did two seasons of a TV show called Ted, and it's
Hmm.
when Mark Wahlberg's character John is a teenager in high school. And so Ted hasn't really learned about sex and drugs and stuff yet. He's a lot
Hmm.
tamer at that point. But it's a good series. And it's only two seasons. It's done. Like at the very end of the second season, they kind of like he went on to do this and he went on to do that, and you're like, oh, it's over.
I saw Ted in the theater, and it was like, how it brilliant. They took something as innocent as a teddy bear, and they made it a pot smoker. I thought that was so hilarious. And Laura Vandervoort is in that, and of course, I met her a couple of times at these conventions, and I got her to sign my Blu-ray of Ted. But but yeah, I'd want to meet Emma Stone because
Okay.
nobody gets me to a theater faster than Emma Stone.
Nice.
I've had a crush on her since 2007 when she did her first movie, Superbad, and she still fascinates me to this day. So it's more than just a physical thing at this point. It's like she's interesting.
Cool.
She takes chances. I mean, she was bald in her last movie, and I still couldn't get there fast enough?
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I like her. There's other people I like too,
Was she the
but
one in the film where they did the chocolate pie that wasn't really made out of chocolate? Yeah, she was good
the
at that.
hell.
She was
Actually,
good
you
at that.
probably like her last movie, speaking of aliens, as Bergonia. She
Brigoni.
was up. Yeah, she was up for an Oscar for it. She's won two Oscars now, but Brigonia, she plays a CEO, and these two cousins. One, they're both conspiracy theorists,
Hmm.
and Alicia Silverstone played their mom, or well, Jesse Plemons' mom, who uh, died of a pharmaceutical thing that the CEO was part of. He raises bees and stuff like that, so he's has all these conspiracies about bee population and why there's so few of them. And they decide to kidnap the CEO, played by Emma Stone, because they think she's an alien.
Oh God.
And you only know going through the movie whether or not their conspiracy is true or not. But it's a bizarre movie. Emma Stone is tremendous in it. And I saw it in Toronto, but I also saw it here. But I was like, where's this going? Where's this going? And like, is there some merit to what they're accusing her of? Or is this going to have a plot twist? So it
Have you
was
seen have you seen Project Hail Mary yet?
no, I haven't. No.
I recommend it. And I don't
Yeah.
often recommend films, but I recommend it. And yeah, I cried. Actually
Did
cried.
you? Did you
The
cry
guy
during
sitting next to me, like, so I
yeah?
was here, Mark was next to me, and Emily was on the other side, but then some stranger was sitting next to me, and I could hear him crying through the movie too.
Did you turn around and say, "Stop it"?
No, I meant to say I was thinking of saying, yeah, it got me too. But then I decided like not talking in the movie is probably a better idea because, once I talk and other people talk and then everybody's talking and yeah, you don't talk in a movie. So I just let him cry. He probably would have been embarrassed to know that I could hear him crying anyway. I thought it was a chick sitting next to me because the lights were all down and stuff like that. And then when everything ended and we got up, there was a dude sitting there and I was like, okay, dude's got emotions, not a psychopath. Very nice.
There you go. There you go. But no, I try to go to the movies once a week. But when I'm in Toronto, Toronto's got all kinds of theaters.
Yeah.
But they got the Imagine Theater on Carlton, and they play classic films for $5.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I went and saw John Carpenter's Halloween, the original Halloween there, and I saw The Exorcist there, and Rocky Horror Picture Show, and I was like, oh, nice, I go in there and just sit in this theater and watch these. And but I went to the one at the Dundas Theater because they're doing a re-release screening of It Follows. And I'd never seen it, so I thought, oh, I'll go to this theater. I got my ticket, said Theater 14, and I was like, oh, I'm not used to. We got a 10 screener here, Theater 14. I went in there, I shot a little bit of video in there because it's a beautiful theater. And I was like, I had to ask somebody, I said, where's Theater 14? He goes, upstairs. So I went up the escalator. It said, it's up Theater 11 to 24. And I'm like, really? There's 24 screens?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, this is wild. Yeah, I shot some, like, I got playlists on YouTube and I have some of my trips, and I shot some videos, some of this stuff, and it's kind of wild seeing some of these stuff, some of these theaters, and some people might find it boring, I come out and talk about this stuff, but you know what? For me, it's just kind of like therapy because when I'm on my deathbed someday, I can look back on this. Not that I'm in a hurry for my deathbed, but still, So I
Hopefully
like
not.
creating this stuff. Yeah. But yeah, Brandy is a good one to keep in touch with. I noticed you guys were communicating back and forth, and she called me one night because she lives in Niagara Falls. And
Okay.
yeah, we see, because when I'm at work cleaning, I got my earphones in and I can talk to people that call me.
Yeah.
So I had like a 3 hour conversation with her while I was working, and she was basically because she's at all of these conventions, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, and I torment her dog because her dog is always growling. It's
Oh
like one of
God.
their little dogs.
The bark is bigger than the bite.
I call her dog little shit.
Yeah, you were saying.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, and of course, if there's any other podcasters out there I can connect you with, I'll certainly do that, you know. So
Appreciate that.
I know
Yeah.
Tommy's having you back, so there you go. So
Yeah, I got a
yeah.
few. I got a few from last book that I got to call up and get
Oh,
going.
nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I did one with
Well,
out in some radio station out in North Dakota.
nice.
Yeah.
Well, the further reach, the better, you know. So there you go. But anyway, it's always great talking to you, you know. And like I said, when book three comes, ring me up, and
Nice.
we'll do that one as well. So
Perfect.
yeah, absolutely. It's always fun talking to you. It's like you've done so many things, you know. You've done acting. You've got I got your CD here. I promise I have it. It's just
Yeah.
stashed away, but I have your CD, and of course.
I have another
Um,
copy for you if it ever gets scratched.
Yeah, I think it's in that CD box right there.
Oh,
But
don't worry
I
about it. But if it ever gets scratched and it won't play, you let me know. I got another copy for you.
okay, okay. So yeah, I like that CD. Especially love the song Eden. Eden was great. You had a great video to that too.
Thanks. That was
Yeah,
my first video project ever.
well, it was fantastic, you know, especially when you had your hands out and there was flames, you know, and that was great. Great stuff, you know. Yeah, yeah. So, and I love the cover art too that you did for that, you know, where you had the dollar bill, just perfect sense. I know what you were saying there, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, that was great, and now you're doing your book. So I like the fact you've got this book series coming, but you also have the Sixth Sense, which is kind of a different avenue, you know? So
Yeah.
I
I'm working on a nonfiction book as well about quantum physics and how it
hmm
explains why we're all here. It's like the
hmm
meaning of life as explained by quantum physics. And I originally started writing this sixth sense stuff as some chapters in this book, and then I realized this really needs to be its own thing. So,
Well, didn't you get the meaning of life from Monty Python?
no. And I didn't get it from Sheldon Cooper.
I don't watch Big Bang Theory, but I love Monty Python.
It's funny that you don't watch Big Bang Theory because if you did, okay, so I have had a lot of people tell me that I'm like a real life Amy Farrah Fowler. So if you ever watch Big Bang Theory
Is she
in the future,
Kaylee Cuoco or no, that was
no,
Penny.
Mayim Bialik. She's Sheldon's girlfriend. And
Okay.
so I was asking my husband once, I was like, like I'm very logical in what I do. I, I feel I have emotions and stuff, but I'm very driven by logic. I said, am I like Spock? And he's like, no, not Spock, but there is someone. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, oh my God, am I Sheldon Cooper? And he said, no, you're Amy Farrah Fowler. And I was like, oh, I can handle that. Anyway, since then I've had like multiple people tell me the same thing. So I own it. I'm good with it. Why not?
I don't watch television. I just watch my movies on my Blu-ray player, but I'm familiar with what the Big Bang Theory is, so there you go. So yeah. But anyway, it was wonderful having you come on here today, and yeah, it's always a pleasure. And when this is ready, I'll send it to you and post it wherever. And in the
Perfect.
meantime, keep creating.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything else?
No, we're good.
Please do a plug for my show before we close off.
Sure. This is Bea Waters, aka Bronwyn, and you are listening to Python's Paradise.
Absolutely, folks. Check out Project Human and her next book. Hold that up there one more time. Yes, Atlantis Rising, Project Human 2. Folks, check that out. Yes, absolutely. And there's more coming.
There's more.
Yes, there's more coming, folks. More coming. Bronwyn, have a wonderful, wonderful day.
You too.
And yes, and enjoy those com conventions and engagements that you've got coming up. Absolutely, absolutely. You
Thanks.
take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.